Good evening, brothers, sisters, and friends. Today is Friday, May 19, 2006. We are having our regular meditation session. And I would like to introduce to you, this is one of my students who was practiced in Plum Village for more than a year, and he just came back to visit us and be with us in the 3 months of a monastic retreat. And after the English speaking 4 days retreat, he will fly back to Plum Village to continue his practice and studying in Plum Village. This is Brother Trung Như. Welcome home. You want to sing a song? And this is my Dharma sister, Sister Phap Hoa, also back from Vietnam after 6 months of studying a traditional Buddhist nun in Vietnam. She was in the 2 nunneries in Vietnam. My dear brothers and sisters, in Buddhist practice, we encourage that once a while we must sit down and reflect ourselves. How far have we stepped forward since we practice, since we learned the Buddha's teaching, and how much that we apply in our daily life? And haven't we become the basket of the books yet? That means maybe we have a lot of knowledge about the practice, but actually we do not practice anything yet. We may become a very good patient, memorize all kind of prescription, and we can give many people the prescription for their illness, but maybe for ourselves we did not even take any pill in order to help our illness yet. So that is the question, and that is the encouragement from the Buddhas, from the many teachers. And in our practice, it's the same. We need to reflect ourselves. And did we transform anything yet? When we practice, do not feel bad when we recognize a lot of negative seeds still in us. Don't feel bad about that. Because if we realize that we still have negative, that means we have the intention in order to transform. We have the goodwill to learn the technique, the method to transform our negative. There was a lady who practiced quite long, and she called me. She said, Thầy, I want to practice meditation, but somehow I cannot concentrate. That's why I refuse. I give up. And I say, no, that is not an excuse. When you recognize that we still have a lot of wandering in us, we still have a lot of negative in us, that's why we practice. If we completely perfect, and we do not need to practice. Like if we are well, we never go to the doctor. We go to the doctor because we are not well. So that's why we are looking for the way of practice. We spend time in the practice center. We spend time to practice 1 day mindfulness one day of mindfulness. Or sometimes we attend long-term retreat. What is the purpose of that? Isn't that we want to have the way to help our daily life better? So the Buddha taught us that in our mind there are three kind of poisons. The first poison we call greed. Second one, hate. The third one, delusion or ignorance. These are the three poisons, very dangerous. In Buddhist texts, the Buddha call few names for this set of three. Sometimes the Buddha call the three poison snakes. Sometimes the Buddha call this is the three fires. They can destroy us, they can damage us, they can burn us anytime. The poison snake, when they bite us, we die right away. No suffer. But if we have these three poisons deep inside of us, we die, but slowly. We die in the suffer. So therefore, these are the three poisons that the Buddha always reminds us. First, we contemplate on greed. We ask ourselves, do I still have greed in me or not? But what kind of greed we have? What are we craving for? We are craving for money. We are craving for fame, good food, good sleep. Sometimes we have 8 hours a day, we still do not feel enough. We want more sleep. And sometimes we say, I only need something to eat. But if we open the fridge, something that doesn't look good, we close, we walk back and forth. We still yelling, I'm hungry. But tons of food in the fridge, but we still do not want to eat yet. Why? Because the food in the fridge, not the food we want. This is the inner hunger, not the outer hunger. We hunger about what? We should know about that. So, the Buddha gave us basically 5 kinds of greeds. Sometimes we call desires. Money, sex, fame, good food, more hours to sleep. Some people, when they sleep, they have to have exactly the blanket that they are looking for, the kind that they like, the blanket, the pillow. So those are very basic things that we still attach with. So when we have greed in us, we are creating the inner hunger. And then that is the symptom of lack of generosity. We do not want to give. We only want more. If something belongs to us, we just want to protect. We just want to keep. But that is belong to someone we're willing to use. Lack of compassion toward other people. We always seems that we want more. We want things bigger, better. For example, when we live in an apartment, and we hope that if we have, some more, little bit extra financial, so we can have a townhouse. And then when we move in the townhouse, we look across our street, there's a single house. So we're looking for that house. So once we have that single house, and maybe next year the house beside us, they demolish down and they build the bigger one, and we feel that our house is small. So we should do somehow that to make another house. And sometimes we already live in a big house. On Saturday, if we are free, we are driving around to looking for show home to satisfy the hunger of the eyes, to satisfy the greed in us. Sometimes we do not have that fortunate, and we hope, we wish, we're looking for, but once we get there, we want more. And that is us. Not because of our society now, but in many years ago, human beings are the same. Can you imagine to those kind of people who are attached and running after many material life possession? Maybe is that Wednesday, the Oilers, the hockey game? We are practicing sitting meditation out in here around 9:30. And many attracting. They're horning the cars cross by here. And the novices, they cannot control, they laugh. But in that moment, I see things clearly. And I silently talk to them. I do not say anything, but in here, I do talk to them. Outside, people running after something that is not necessary. But we do not care. All we need to do is sit here and enjoy our breathing. Because if we stop breathing, what happened to us? We die. We do not blame these people, but that is the picture for us to reflect. How many people willing to spend their time for the inner peace? And how many people willing to spend their time for something from outside? They are running to the object of their greed. So meditation help us what? Help us to see things clear. Help us to reflect. So if we fall in the situation of greed, we also suffer. And the Buddha gave us 5 basic kind of suffering. And in one of the eight, the suffering of we want something but we cannot achieve. That is one of the suffering. The suffering that we love someone, we want to be with someone, but that person does not love us. We cannot be with that person. That is one of the 8 suffering. We hate someone. We don't want to see that person, but we have to meet that person all the time. That is one of the kind of the suffering. And greed is fall in the suffering of we want, but we cannot achieve it. If the snake bites us, we die right away. But if we have this kind of greed in us, this kind of poison in us, we suffer day by day. And we also suffer someone beside us too. I give you an example. As a child, sometimes they ask the parent for something because they see that their friends have it. They want that. And when they come back home and they ask for that kind of thing, and their parents say, I don't think you are ready for that kind of material. Right now, I can afford, but actually, yes and no. But the main thing is, we feel that your age is not ready for that kind of thing. And you know, if you cannot satisfy that child that they're asking for, that child suffer. And then they also bother their parents. They always mention about that. They turn their face with their parents. They get upset with the parents. And those kind of situations happen tons and tons in our daily life. As a teacher, sometimes you also fall in that kind of situation. Maybe your student asks for something and you feel that your student is not ready for that kind of thing. And if you do not satisfy them, they suffer. So if we want something, we cannot have it, we suffer. And sometimes we are practicing generosity. But is that from our heart or from our greed? We greed from what? We want the fame. We want people to honor us. We want our name on the list of donation. I know that a long time ago in Vietnam there was a lady who brought to the temple 3 trucks of kitchen use to donate for the temple. And she write some names of her family and wishing that the head monk will read their name first. But actually the head monk did not do that. Not with the purpose. Accidentally, he just put all the name of donators on the list and he just read them out. But when this lady heard that her name was in the middle of the list, the next day she brought the 3 empty trucks to load all the things that she donated to the temple back to the truck and bring back not even a single chopstick. So when you're doing donation, when you are practicing generosity, from what? From your heart or from the fame? And this happened in churches. This also sometimes happens in temples. Not too many people, when they practice generosity, they learn that. Because they just want their name on the list, on the newspaper. Very skillfully, that kind of poison slowly, skillfully come to our heart, come to our mind, but we do not know. When the first day you come to the practice center, the mind is very innocent. Oh, I just want to learn the practice. But when you become a regular member, you do something for that practice center or for that association, you have a little bit of title and you stick with that title and you never want to lose that title. And sometimes We cannot afford for that kind of job anymore. We cannot do. But we just want to sit there and we do not want anyone to replace us. What happened? We suffer because we cannot doing the work. And we block other people in order to do things to benefit for other people. So the poison of greed is already there in us. Do not feel guilty if we recognize I have greed in me. But we should know there is a positive greed. For example, if you come here every Friday, if some of the Friday you could not make it, you feel that you miss it. Or you practice meditation every night at home, and if any night you don't have time for that, you feel that you are missing something. That is a good greed. You're craving for meditation. When I was a young child, around 9 years old, you know what is my greed? I'm craving to donate some small food to an alming, to a monk. Because in the tradition, the monk used to have an alming bowl and they walk slowly on the street. And if you see them, you just buy something, maybe an apple, an orange, or few cookies to offer to them. They do not cook at the temple. They just arming the food on the street every morning. And one day I have $5. So I went to the supermarket and waiting for the monk to come so I can offer them. I want to buy some food to offer. I stand in the market from 5 a.m. until 8 a.m. I didn't see any monk. Very hungry. So I say, if I do not see any monk, I will use this money to buy some food for me, for my breakfast. So when I turned around and I saw there was a monk who was walking slowly and slowly come to me. Very happy. I touched my pocket in order to get $5 out to buy the food. But unlucky for me, someone took $5 out from my pocket. But now when I think back about that picture when I was a child, I feel that I have a positive greed. When I was a child, I loved to go to many vegetarian restaurants to help. To chop the vegetable, to slice the tofu for them. So that's why now I have some experience about cooking. So when you have greed in you, it's like a fire is burning. When you are reading the Ulampana Sutra, describe about the mother of Molangana, because she have a lot of negative greed when she alive. So when she dies, she go to hell. Very hungry. She fall in the hell of hungry ghost. And Molangana offer her a bowl of rice. And because for many days she does not have anything to eat, so when she saw the bowl of rice, she just want to keep for herself. So she used the left hand to cover the bowl. She used the right hand to take the rice and put in her mouth. Unfortunately, when she touched to the rice, the whole bowl of rice burned into ash. That is the picture to show us of maybe that is not real, but that is the story that want to remind us. We already fall in the situation of hungry ghost because of the greed, but we still did not transform our greed yet. We still just want to protect. So the picture of cover the bowl of rice and touching, and she does not want anybody to share that. That is the picture of greed. And when you have greed, that burn everything. And when we are greed for something and we cannot achieve it, what happens? We angry. We feel unhappy about that. The Buddha said, no matter how much merits you gain, but one small flame of hate can burn all the fuel of merits. When I was in China, they put a sign. One tree can make into millions of matches, but one match can burn thousands of trees. Is that nice? Just one tree, they can make into millions of matches, but only one match can burn the whole forest, many trees. When we do something good, that can create a lot of merit, lot of seeds, good seeds. But one flame of hate, of anger, can burn everything. We want to build up a happiness family very hard. Lot of attention, lot of work. But we want to destroy the environment of happiness easily. That happens. Reality every day in our daily life. Many people, they put a lot of effort into something. But just one single word that they said, everything gone. So hate is also danger. And that is the symptoms of anger, hostility, dislike, ill will, wishing harm. Because if we hate someone, we have no compassion for that person. We just want that person get rid of our eyes. We don't want to hear that person's voice. And that becomes something danger. So when we have greed, we are in the hell of hungry ghost. We do not need to wait until we die. And there is a hell underneath of the earth. No, we cannot find those kind of hell. The hungry ghost, that kind of hell is available. Whenever we willing not to share anything, that is the hell of hungry ghost. We just want to collect more. We do not want to share. We do not want to give. That is the hungry ghost. And when we have hate in us, we are in the hell of fire. We do not need to wait until we die in order to go to hell. Hell is right here. Heaven is right here. Don't wait. We can see that. Let's imagine when we get angry, how do we look? We should know. We have many symptoms on our face. Some people, when they get angry, they look very red. Some people, when they are angry, they look very pale. Some people, they turn yellow. Some people, they shake, they tremble because they're very angry. And their voice also shaking. Have you ever seen people angry like that? Few days ago, if the Oilers lose, they're also a big trouble in White Earth. But even the Oilers win, still a lot of problem too. So therefore, if we are in the fire of hate, of greed, then that means we in hell. And no, we can ask the question, which hell is better than other? If you in hell, there's no better. They suffer the same. So that's why the stores in White Earth, those days they prepare. Even win or lose, they're supposed to spend some money to fix their stores. And that is the truth of life. So the Buddha said there's no lose, no win. That's better. Because both sides, we still suffer. We are the one who lose. We suffer. But beside that, we have hate for others. The winner, they're happy. But beside that, they buy their win. They buy the victory by hate from other people. So people ask the Buddha, what is the best way to have a good sleep? And the Buddha said, if deep in your heart you no more contain the win or the lose, you can sleep well. And one day, one of the Zen practitioner came to one of the teacher and asked, what make me can see the path, the true path, and make me live in peace? And he said, if you do not contain whether you lose or you win, you can stretch your leg and sleep very well. Because you don't have to worry. From now on, you will have a lot of enemies. Because after your victory, you have an enemy. And when you are a loser, you also, what happened? You also have some enemy for you to hate. Both ways, we suffer. In both ways, we in the hell. When we have delusion or ignorance, we cannot see the truth of things. We cannot see the true impermanent nature. We expect a lot. That's why we suffer, because of our ignorance. If we can see the truth, there's nothing for us to be suffer. Today I have 2 visitors from Yellowknife. They came to visit me and they raised a question. Many questions. And they asked me something related to the religious right in Vietnam, about the young generation. And I told him that I have meditation about that sometime too. You know, in our tradition, you want to listen to the talk, to the lecture, you should go to the temple. And sitting and listening Dhamma talk in life. We do not have CD, DVD or VCD or anything like that. You have to go to the temple and learn. And if you have questions, you ask right away. But lately, lot of lecturing in internet. So therefore, now very less people that they willing or spending time to sit on the floor and listening to more than 1 hour Dhamma talk. If we think negative, we will a little bit sad. But if you can see the truth of life, of the society, that is how the life right in our society now. Very convenient. They can learn, they can download many texts, many sutras, many Dhamma talk. So they do not need to go to the temple, but they're willing to learn Buddhism in a different way. And if you expect them to go to the temple and sit and listening to the Dhamma talk, you will be suffer. But actually, if you are not here, there is no talk. And if there is no talk, there is nothing to make a CD. So you are sitting here to supporting the people who are not here. Because you are sitting here in order for me to say something. And because I have said something, that's why we have something to make into a CD. So we are helping each other. So if we cannot see the truth of life, something will be happen. I have shared with you a story about a young boy. His grandfather asked him. He gave him $2 and 2 bowls, 2 empty bowls. He asked that young boy, "You go to that market. You buy for me $1 pepper, $1 vinegar." The young boy came to his grandfather and asked, which dollar to pay for pepper, which dollar pay for vinegar. The grandfather said, "Doesn't matter, they're all money. And I only give you $2. So you only need to buy $2 of 2 things, you pay them." He walked few steps, he turned around and he asked, Grandpa, which bowl for pepper, which bowl for vinegar?" He said, "Doesn't matter, they are empty, so you can put anything in one of the bowl." But when he very angry, he hit that boy. His father came out. Who is his father? The son of this old man. So he said, "You hit my son, I hit your son." So he hit himself. You understand the story so far? The grandfather said, "You hit my son, I hit your father. You beat my son, I beat your father." So the father beat himself. Do you get the idea of the story? No? Because the grandson is the son of this man. And this man is the son of an old man. So an old man beat the grandson. You understand that? The old man beat the grandson. And the father of the son, he came out and he saw that the grandfather beat his son. He said, "You beat my son, I beat your son." He hit himself. And the father said, "You beat my son, I beat your father." And who is that man's father? The old man. That is the story of delusion. They do not see the truth. There was a man who went to the shopping mall and he bought the mirror. So when he looked at the mirror, he reflects his face into the mirror. When he's smiling, he saw in that mirror that there was a man who is also smiling. That is very interesting. When he doing like this and the man in the mirror also doing the same. He said, this is a very fun and miracle mirror. So he brought home. And he showed to his wife, he said, honey, today I just bought a miracle mirror. Whatever you do, they do the same. And in there was a man, very beautiful, very nice. You come and look. When she came to the mirror, and there is no man reflect, but it's reflect who? Herself in the mirror. And she yelled out, she said, I did not see any man in there. I see a young lady in there. Why you brought that lady home? I don't want her to be home. Kick her out of this house. And they are arguing. One say, no, there was a man in there. One say, no, there's a young lady in there. The mother heard their argument. She said, what happened to both of you? Why you argue? The lady said, look, he brought a young lady home. Maybe he wants to kick me out of this house, and instead she bring another young lady home. The mother said, let me see about the mirror. She came to the mirror and she saw an old lady in there. She said, I cannot imagine you get jealous with that old lady. That is also another story about the ignorance. They do not see the truth. They fall in their perception, what we call the wrong perception. When you have ignorance, you have the wrong view. And once this is very important, because once you have the wrong view, of course, you have the wrong thinking, the wrong thought. And once you have the wrong thought, it also leads you to the wrong action. So just one unwholesome action right here, it brings to many other unwholesome actions. So when you have the wrong view about something, you have the wrong action. Also, you have the wrong speech about that. So maybe you think, as a Buddhist monk, you cannot go to shopping. Maybe you think that. And one day you see Thầy in the shopping mall. What happened? You have the wrong view. Maybe he needs something in the shopping mall. He went to the shopping mall in order to buy something for the temple to use. And if you expect that monks not allowed in the shopping mall, what happened? You suffer yourself because you have no trust in that monk. And you also make headache for that monk too. And that also sometimes happens in daily life. So when we have this, we attach to what we know. We do not expect, we do not open our heart to accept anything from other people. And what happens? We isolate ourselves. We are in the hell of ice, of cold. Because we look very cold. We just feel that we are the perfect one. We are the only one. We are number one. We do not open to learn from anyone. So if you learn Buddhism and you frame yourself in the frame of Buddhism, you also not Buddhism. You want. So if you expect that is Buddhism, that is not Buddhism, and what happened to your day? You're just busy for this is right, this is wrong for the whole day. We haven't received any happiness. We do not know how to open our eyes, open our heart, and embrace. When we have this, we do not accept people. And how can people accept us? So therefore, we're in the hell of cold, lonely, the hell of lonely. And we blaming. And you know, the more you be lonely, the more you angry. So these three hells, they are connection. Some people, because their loneliness, that's why in them they have a lot of anger. They are very easy to upset. They are very sensitive. Have you ever met anyone who is very sensitive about your words? When you speak to those kind of people, you have to be very careful. I met those kind of people a lot. I remember about 15 years ago, when I still a novice. One day we have a senior nun just about to visit our temple. And I am very busy and exciting and prepared to welcome that senior nun. And there was a lady who said, "Why you have to prepare so many things like that? It looks like a wedding." I didn't say anything. I just silently continue my work. And after we have lunch, and I just stand up and say, "Oh, let us go, brush our teeth, wash our face, and get dressed nice and neat to welcome the senior nun." And after that, I recite a verse that the novice used to say when they brush their teeth. And in that verse, they say, brushing your teeth, washing your face. That means the same as you are giving a lot of good speech. I do not mean to blame that lady, what she just said. But she got a wrong message from me. She touched my shoulder and she called me to a corner and she said, "I just said that you don't have to blame me in front of the many people." And that made me surprised because I did not mean to blame her. I practiced Buddhism. I practiced my words, but in the wrong time, wrong situation. That's why, because she just said something very negative to me. She said something that is not nice to me. Why you have to prepare things like a wedding? And she thought I was upset with her sentence. That's why I tried to say something back to her, but actually not. Since then, I learned a lecture from her. Even you try to share something good, but in the wrong time, that may become a negative. So when you want to joking, doesn't mean you can joke anytime with anybody. Sometimes, some people, they do not like the way you joke. Some people, they do not like the way you behave. So as a human, we must learn an art in our daily life. The art of speaking, the art of listening, the art of sharing. Example, you want to invite the bell, you learn the art of inviting the bell. First, you have to hold the stick nice and beautiful like this, and you wake up the bell, and then you invite. So this is the art, how to invite the bell, to make the bell sound good, and make people listening to the sound of the bell, they feel calm and peace. So same thing. Before you sound the bell, you must wake the bell. Before you want to speak out the word, you want to sound out your voice, you must stop and think carefully about the word that you are ready to say. Practice that and you will feel that you are very happy because you save a lot of breaking. This is my experience. Sometimes you want to show that you are a very open-heart person. You do not attach to anything. You are very free. You are liberate. You are very liberate. But sometimes that is not the way. Now we want to transform this greed. When we recognize the negative in us, so how? How to transform this? We practice giving. So that's why in Buddhism, one of the 6 paramitas, one of the 6 perfect in the practice, generosity, giving. There are many ways to give. You have money, you give money. You have material, you give material. You have nothing to give, you come to help. You donate your labor. Every Friday, you arrive 15 minutes early to help to set up the cushions. If the cushions already set up, you sit beautifully and breathe and enjoy. When people come in, you offer them your peace, your joys. There are many ways to give. For example, when you are sitting here, you do not stand up and walk and make noise and those kind of things. You are already practicing giving. You are giving your community what? You are giving your community peace and happiness while everybody practicing silent and sitting. The husband and the wife, we must work together in order to build up the happiness family. It's not the responsibility of the husband or the wife. We must both work together. And when we can do that, we are already giving our children, our generation, the environment of happiness. So in order to transform the greed, we practicing giving. For example, if you get angry with someone, now what happened? You forgive that person. You let it go. You let their wrongdoing. You let it go. You liberate that person out of your heart, and you also free from that hate. If you hate that person never away from you because you're always thinking about that person. That person become a negative object for your mind. So be careful. If you don't want to be hate all the time, you should practice loving kindness. Sometimes we call compassion. If we cannot love someone, it's very hard for us to be with that person. I learned, if you want to forgive someone, the easy way for you to do that, put yourself in that person's position. And then you can understand that person. For example, a person who are very easy to get angry. How come? Because they have lived in the environment of anger of their families. They have the gene of their parents. So in order to hate that person, let's open our heart, accept that person first. Have loving kindness for that person first in order to embrace and transform them. For example, you want to love a flower. Do you love flower? We all love flowers. Practice looking into the flower a little bit deeper. You should love garbage. Because no garbage, no compost. No compost, no flower. So do not just see that beautiful flower and accept the flower only, but also look a little bit deeper in order to love the nature of the flower is come from garbage. You understand what I mean by that? A person who is very skillful in life, not automatically, but after a long time of suffer, with their unskillful, unwholesome actions, unwholesome speech already. That's why they learn and they can become a skillful person. So if we want that person to be transformed, first of all, accept that person. The same as when you get angry with your daughter, your son. Instead of that, accept them first. If you don't accept your son, your daughter, how can you love and help? You cannot, because you never accept them. If you want to love them, you must accept them. And that is called true love. True love always comes with accepting. And if we do not accept that person, we cannot get close to that person. And once we cannot get close to that person, how can we help? That's why you see that we have a Bodhisattva, a small statue donated by one of the member in Ontario, the Bodhisattva of 18 hands. Why the Bodhisattva have a lot of hands like that? In Buddhism, we have a Bodhisattva called Thiên, nhận, 1,000 hands, 1,000 eyes. What is that stand for? You have 1,000 eyes, that means you understand 1,000 situations. That's why you can put 1,000 of hands in order to help. Let example, you are sitting here, 50 people, and you have different 50 situations. And if I want to help you, I must understand 50 different situations of you. And then I can give you the right help. So as a great being, Bodhisattva means a great being. You want to help, you must understand. When you understand this person have headache, you give him Tylenol. This person have stomachache, not Tylenol, something else. So that means 1,000 eyes, 1,000 hands. And you see that in each of the Bodhisattva's hand, the Bodhisattva hold different instruments. What does that mean also? Same thing. Different situation give different instruction. Instrument stand for the instruction. When I was a little boy in Vietnam, we never have money to buy a calculator. We never know what is a calculator. Our teacher asked us to go home, got 100 chopsticks to count for math. Some family, they don't have money to buy chopsticks. So the teacher said, that's okay. You go to the garden and get a little bit, a lot of bamboo. Chop them into small sticks. Polish them. Bring to the school. As long as you have something that I can help you to do some math. And I remember when I was a child, I always have 100 chopsticks along with me when I go to school to do math. But now you live in this kind of environment, you ask the children to bring chopsticks to school. Doesn't make sense. Can you see what I mean by that? And if you expect, you should live exactly like in Vietnam compared to me. You should copy me. Me is long time ago. Thầy is now like an old man in a museum. You know, one of my female students, she asked me about cell phone, and I said, I tell you the truth, honestly, I don't know anything about a cell phone. She does not believe me. She just jumped up and down, and she said, Thầy, are you sure? I said, why I have to lie to you? She said, I cannot imagine you do not know anything about a cell phone. I said, because I don't need a cell phone. If I go out, I borrow the cell phone from one of the members. Because I do not go anywhere much. And if I need something, I have some helpers. So sometimes some of the things I don't learn. You know, right, even now, I only know how to check my email and how to go to some of the websites, Buddhist websites. That's it. Because we don't have time to search for many things that not necessary for us to spend time on that. And I know that loss of attracting. Because sometimes I, visit some of the Buddhist websites and they have tons of things for me to read. And I just sit there and read. When I look at the clock, it's already 5 a.m. So even the Buddhist websites, you already attract that much. Can you imagine some of the illegal websites? How much you attract. So if you feel that you are not ready for those kind of websites, do not go there. Danger. They will kill us without any knife. When you transform your greed by giving, you transform your hate by loving kindness, and you transform your delusion or ignorance by your insight, your wisdom, your deep understanding. Another word, deep understanding. Yesterday, around 7 o'clock, there was a phone call to the temple from one of the members at 97th Street. She asked me a question like this. Thầy, is one of your students home? And he asked about Peter Trung Lý. I said, he just left to pick up one of the teacher. She said, oh, Peter got a big accident at 97th Street. And I think that is something called hit and run. So you should go there right away, Thầy, to see is he okay. And so that I hang up the phone and I almost lose myself. I jump in the van and I drive along 97th Street, just about few blocks, and I already saw many police vehicles, ambulance. But if I did not ask him anything, and I just get off the car and blame him, and that's what happened. This is called ignorance. I did not understand anything related to him. And he is already frightened that much. And if you jump down and you blame him and that may only make him more scared, more fear. So if we can understand what happened, and I get off the car and I said, are you okay? He said, I'm okay. I did not get into an accident. People hit in the front of me, people hit at the back, and he hit in the middle, and he is safe. Did you watch news last night on 97th Street? Big accident. And Brother Trung Lý, right in the middle of the 4 cars in the front, 2 cars at the back, he is right in the middle, but he have no problem with his vehicle and also himself. But the 2 cars at his back, they hit. 4 cars in the front, they hit, except him. And one of the men who's standing there and say, "Oh, because he is a Buddhist monk." So I want to mention that if someday your son or your daughter, something happened to them, even you have a lot of temper, please try to calm down. To make them feel safe first by your understanding. What happened? Maybe your son say, "Mom, I will pick you up around 12 o'clock. You wait until 2 o'clock. You say, "What are you doing?" You blame him. But when he arrived, instead of yelling, "What are you doing? Why are you late?" You say, "Honey, are you okay?" That is the first question we should ask. Maybe he has some problem before that. That's why he's late. And when we have that kind of question for him, come from loving kindness. And because we have deep understanding and loving kindness, that's why we can give him the non-fear. You see, they connect to each other. To give is not to give something, but right in the moment we can ask a question to calm that person down, to calm his fear, to calm his frighten. We already give. We already practice loving kindness. We already practicing insight. And the result for this transformation, this is the three negative, this is the 3 positive, and these are the 3 results. They become precepts, concentration, and insight. These are the 3 results for this transformation. Because if you can keep the precept, that means you keep the law. You never do anything illegal controlled by your greed. If I go to the shopping mall, I saw something and I don't have money to afford for that, I just pick them up and put in my pocket. And I was controlled by the greed. So if I do keep the precept not to steal, but instead of giving, I have the precept. And when I do not have a hot temper in me, I do have concentration, calming. And when you can calm, the insight is there. What can make you do not break the law? The insight, the concentration. And once you do not break the law, you have concentration, you have the insight. So even there are 3, but actually you only need to practice 1, the other 2 is there. Because the concentration, calming, insight help you to see things, which illegal, which legal and illegal. And because of this, that's why you build up, you bring more energy of concentration. And the concentration bring more energy for the insights. The insights bring more energy for concentration, bring more energy and happiness for the practice of the precept. This is what we call the interbeing, the inter-are. If you do 1, you do the other 6. As I mentioned, once we have the wrong view, of course we have wrong speech, wrong thought, wrong action, wrong livelihood. If we have the right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, and right effort. You have the right view about the Friday meditation class. That's why you make a right effort. You try to make it every Friday. And you have done the right action. That means to come here. And when you can learn something good, you have a right thinking, a right speech. That's related. So today we are talking about the 3 poisons, the 3 transformation, and the 3 results. These are all Dharma numbers. Number 3. In Buddhism, we have a lot of things like this. 3 poisons, 3 paramita, the 3 ways to cut your illusion, your suffer. Any question about these 3 things? Anyone have any question? When we mention something, doesn't mean we try to cut, we try to avoid. But in order to avoid, we know how to have them in moderation. In 5 contemplations during the meal, there is a 3rd contemplation. May I transform our unskillful state of mind and learn to eat with moderation. If you eat without moderation, you get sick. You don't get health. For example, you drink milk. If you overdrink, you're sick. Cheese is good for health, but if you overtake, you're sick. So in Buddhism, material life we have. But this is the practicing of what? Of recognizing how much we need in order not to continue to suffer us because we want things more than, bigger, better, extra. More extra we want, more work for us. We want to have a modern car, fancy car, lot of options. We need to work hard in order to pay for that. But what is the purpose of the vehicle? Just to bring us from here to there. But sometimes we forgot about the purpose of the vehicle just because we are attracted by the outside of the vehicle. That's why we suffer. The house is to keep us warm, not for you to walk or to sleep everywhere, every corner of the house. We used to say, no matter how much land you have, but when you sleep, you only sleep that much of space. No matter how much food you have on the table, you only can take just enough for your stomach. So why we need more? So in Buddhism, we try to practicing less wanting, but always feel enough. When you feel enough, everything will be enough. When we don't feel enough, we always want more, we suffer more. Because we never feel enough. And because we never feel enough, that's why we always poor. We always feel that we are the poorer. Because we never have things called enough. Is that clear for you? Is anything that you still don't clear about? Please ask. Anything to be announced?